Hey everyone, welcome to The Tilt. The things I learned today, we are going to hit an eclectic bunch of things today. We are going to talk about post-war Germany and what it took for the reconstruction there. We're going to talk about all these companies trying to take attendance and get more employees to show up. And then we've got some idea about some new business ownership and startups happening out in the marketplace. And then lastly, an idea of what you can do with your habits. Let's get to it. Well, first, this post-war Germany documentary, I'm gonna have Marla put it in the comments. Just what we can't understand really, certainly if you're viewing this from the United States, you can't really get a sense of how bad it is when a country is so destroyed that all of the housewives have to go out and just kind of get in a straight line together and just load rubble and move it out of the way just so you can even find the stuff that's left. All the way to what happened to the family structure and the economy, etc. It is brutal. And with some of the conflicts happening worldwide right now, there are going to be people that at least go through that post-war reconstruction and people that are going through it now from years ago. And it's just such a sobering thought for even the suffering not just happens in war, but the suffering that happens well beyond. Next, and this is going to have a couple of graphics I'll have Marla put up on the screen, but the whole return to work thing has got a lot of people not wanting to go back to work. People are accepting exit packages, etc. And while we're seeing in the news these things about, oh, another big company says mandatory return to work, etc., what you're going to see from this one graph is that it's kind of just bumped along. It hasn't increased much. The remote work has really stuck around ever since we got back from COVID. Like you can see the big COVID return to work, which is this big drop of work from home, and then it's kind of bumped up and down some, and that's it. And it's because those small employers, those that are competing for talent, etc., they're accepting those people. Sound Financial Group is one of those companies where we hope that we do better in the labor market because of the autonomy and freedom that we give our employees with their ability to work remote. And then this other graph I'm going to have Marla show you guys shows how the return to work mandates have gone up, but employees' actual behavior. And whether that is, a sly workaround, a change of a job title, we've known people who've done that, where you just get yourself inside of a loophole where the mandate doesn't quite apply to you, or at least it's not applying to you for now. And meanwhile, that employee may be looking elsewhere. I think the other thing these companies have to consider is that there may be people who said, yep, I'll return to office, no problem. And they're there working every day, but they're also looking every day because they're dissatisfied. And so you may have people that are working well. I'm not talking about the people that do the quitting in place. I'm talking about really good people that just don't see themselves in that company's future anymore because they got a taste of the autonomy, freedom, independence that comes from being able to work remotely the way they were during COVID. Oh, so one thing that I just think is neat, just a flash I saw in the news, is how many new businesses are starting and the rise of these new business startups and how many of them aren't requiring a tremendous amount of infrastructure. Now the AI-enabled solopreneur is a real thing. And so all these businesses and business licenses are popping up. And what I think we're going to see is instead of having one person that employs 10 people, you're going to have the ability to have 10 people who have their own businesses who are out there transacting in the marketplace. And while I know a lot of that AI stuff is scary, we've talked about it here before, but I would definitely encourage everybody to be looking for it as the opportunity that it is rather than the threat it is. Because whatever the threat it is, you're probably not going to be able to do a lot about the threat. Like, think about it long enough to see if there's anything you can do about it. And if there's nothing you can do about it, then it's probably not worth thinking about the threat anymore. And that's just not for AI. That works well for a lot of things. And then the last thing I want to leave y'all with today is just the idea that there are keystone habits that we need to build in our lives to keep it low cost to keep our habits and practices. So as a for instance, if I know I have them, in my case, one of them is this tilt video, is if I'm not doing enough learning, then I notice I don't have enough content for the tilt, which then forces multiple habits in place in my life. And those multiple habits that stack with one another are easier to keep in place because there's a structure, there's a time in my calendar, etc. Or as a coach of mine said years ago, if you want to get in the habit of going on a walk every day, then get a dog and take that dog on a walk at the same time every day, because it won't be long until that dog will demand the walk. So things like times in your calendar, being registered for fitness classes, etc., putting things that are real structures in place that'll help you hold the habit. And this is already something you know, but it might be something you haven't thought about in a little bit, and maybe you're struggling with some little habit that you want to put in place. Like for instance, at Sound Financial Group, we put in regular meetings, just even if they're just 3-4 times a year. Even if there's not a decision point, even if there's nothing else going on, it creates a pause, a structure in time where they get a chance to talk about their money. You might do the same thing with your fitness, blocking out time where you're going to be some kind of active. You know, even if you're just starting out on the journey, you can start with an hour walk or whatever it is, but get a structure in place, something that's going to make it easier to hold the habit. And the one last example is you use structures to keep things out of your life too, like not having the tempting ice cream or the snacks in your cupboard. I gotta say, that's the thing I most look forward to the window when my children are not living with me and when I have grandchildren, is there's going to be a gap in time where I am going to be able to once again have no junk food in the house, and it is going to make eating, well, so much easier. So with that, I hope you guys enjoyed the tilt today. Have a wonderful rest of your day. Look for a chance to extend your attention span, to learn something new. And you know what? Maybe share one of the things that you learned new today with somebody else in your life. And let's just start that idea of tilting into the day by learning something. We'll see you back here tomorrow.